All right, by my watch, it is 6:30. We will go ahead and call to order our license committee meeting for Wednesday, December 14th. We'll start with roll call.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Schultz.
Here.
President Scheer.
Here. Agenda item 3 is the review and possible recommendation to the city council relating to original alcohol beverage retail license applications for a reserve Class B intoxicating liquor for the licensing period of January 3rd, 2023 through June 30th, 2023.
Thank you. I'm going to go through the memo that was provided to the committee, but then also to those in the audience, just to refresh some information. The number of reserve Class B intoxicating liquor license available to municipality was established and changed and determined by the Department of Administration in 1997. That's when the quota was established. An increase in the quota of licenses available would be determined by an increase of 500 persons for a population. So since 1997, population has increased to the fact that we were able to include 2 additional licenses as reserve. Those were said issues prior issued. Since then, we have been able to add enough residents to our population that we now have another license that is available to us. Several businesses over the years, many call and ask and inquire about the availability of licenses, and there's always kind of it's not a waiting list and it's not an order of ask, it's those interested in a license. So I had 5 parties that were interested in a Class B intoxicating liquor license if one to become available. Following our preliminary population numbers we received November 1st, we come to find out, we were excited to know that we had earned ourselves another Class B intoxicating liquor license. We constructed a letter that was sent to those interested parties, which was 5 interested parties we had sent the letter to. 3 had submitted all the required documentation. We also posted it in our local newspaper. It was published November 4th, and then it was also on our city website. We'd allowed a couple weeks for interested parties to submit all required application. So reserve license has a one-time fee of $10,000 that is set by state statute. The recipient would be required to pay that. That's a one-time fee, and that would be due upon license issuance, which we're anticipating to be January. If the business has a Class B beer license already, they would not have to pay that additional fee. They would have to pay the annual Class B intoxicating liquor. So there's 2 different things. There's the one-time reserve fee of $10,000, and then there is the annual intoxicating liquor. That would be prorated, so it would be $250. All of our alcohol licensings are for 1 year. So you'd be notified between March and April to renew the license. That would be effective for July 1st of next year. At that time, it would be the $500 liquor, the $100 beer, and then a publication fee. So just to reiterate, it's just the one-time $10,000. Tonight, the licensing committee is going to review the submissions by the businesses, and from here, it's suggested to make a recommendation to City Council. City Council will then review at their June 3rd, 2023 meeting. Thank you. January 3rd, 2023. It's anticipated the council will make a recommendation at that night, and the license would be issued shortly after. Payment would be due at that type of license issuance. So license committee, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I believe we have all the applicants in the
Yes,
audience.
all 3 applicants are in the audience. I can provide those from date in order of received. It's an easier way to do it. So the first received was Patty Shack LLC, doing business as Patty Shack Golf and Gaming Lounge. Would be located 201 South Main Street. Second received is Mr. Brews Tap House 8 LLC, doing business as Mr. Brews Tap House, currently located 201 North Main Street, Suite 220. And the third received was from Rock River Heritage Incorporated, doing business as the Fort Atkinson Club Community Center, that is located at 211 South Water Street East.
Would it be appropriate to have each applicant take 5 minutes and give us a synopsis of
They certainly
their
can.
business and application if they choose?
They certainly can. I emailed out businesses, let them know that if you would like, you would have up to 10 minutes to present any information you would like to the committee.
That being said, I would say we will open the podium for up to 10 minutes and we'll go in order of received applications, starting with Patty Shack. Yep.
Microphone should have a green button on the black pad.
I'll let Mitch go ahead and figure that out.
Thank you.
Ooh, perfect. No, that's all right.
All right, well, thank you. First, we want to just say thank you for the opportunity. This is really exciting for our business and something that we had hoped would come around. For those who don't know us, my name is Erin. This is Mitch Patterson from Fort Atkinson. Mitch has been a lifetime resident here, and I've called it home for about 20 years. We currently have 4 brick and mortar commercial buildings that we've purchased in Fort Atkinson, our newest being 201 South Main Street, which is more recognizable as the Humphrey Building. We currently operate 2 brick and mortar businesses here in Fort Atkinson as well. 1062 Saloon is our newest in 2020. And then Patty's Pub has been since 2012. So we have a history of working with this industry, restaurant industry, licensing industry. And we're looking forward to our next business, which will be opening in 2023. So building upon what we're already doing with Patty's Pub and 1062 Saloon, we're expanding on that restaurant and nightlife experience with a unique venue that we don't have in our local county. Generally, I would say it's about 25 to 45 minutes minimum to find a venue like Patty Shack. So Patty Shack is a virtual golf and gaming lounge. We're looking forward to having that offer an experience for family oriented from all ages. It'll be have our youngest age would probably be the, I don't know, elementary age that can join their family with the arcade option. And we are looking forward to having a soda option. There we'll have like a soda bar and a quick service food there. So we can serve the younger generations as well as moving into the adults who can participate in the virtual golf, which will also allow different gaming, soccer, softball, other opportunities. Mitch can speak a little more to that if there's questions on that. He's the sports guy. What are we looking at as an impact for us? One, we purchased a historical building here in Fort Atkinson. We didn't want to see our downtown have an empty building. So we were excited to bring our concept into that building. We'll work to maintain the historical value of that building as well as enhance it so that our downtown nightlife traffic, day traffic, in general, tourism is enhanced by this business. We have a history of very strong employee retention. We are actually at this point turning away applicants to work for us. So we're excited to be able to offer more job opportunities in this industry. We also have very high industry standards, meaning that we make sure that our employees are paid well, treated well, and respected in the community. Our businesses are very charitable. We very much enjoy giving back to our community and supporting all the different organizations, and this will be no exception to that. Again, it's an entertainment venue for all ages and demographic. It allows a safe space for our at-risk ages, which are our teenagers, there we go, to be able to have an outlet. At this time, we don't really have something that is socially acceptable in that demographic for the kids, somewhere that they feel like they want to be, which is really something that our community is lacking right now. We're looking forward to offering that in a safe, supervised venue where they can have fun, they can be with friends, and they can also stay out of trouble, because we all know that's what happens. Additionally, it's a family-friendly outing. Right now, the majority of the family outings that we talk about are seasonal in our community. So there's things that people can do in the warmer months, some of the winter months, but primarily our families are leaving our community to find that family-friendly outing. We're looking to retain those families here in Fort Atkinson. We're also looking then to drive in traffic. The virtual golf and gaming is huge in outside communities, and people are looking for them. They do it the same as they do actual golf course hopping. So people are traveling all around Wisconsin looking for these different venues, which brings people into our community. The great part of that is they're also going to frequent our other businesses. They're going to see all that Fort Atkinson has to offer because they're driven in by the Patty Shack model. They'll shop at our shops, they'll eat at our restaurants, they'll stop at our bars. They're going to see how great Fort Atkinson is. We need that driving force to bring more people into our community. We're looking at increasing room tax options with people and creating stay and play options through our hotels. That'll partner with other businesses in town as well so that people can dine out, they can play golf, they can stay at the arcade, and then they'll also stay at our hotels, which increases the amount of funding that we can get for tourism. Again, a benefit to all businesses, not just ours. So the impact of this license for us, it's no secret that a cocktail and golf go hand in hand, and virtual is very similar to that. People look forward to doing both of those things. If we're able to offer that full service with our business, we're retaining our local customer traffic. So the folks who are in Fort Atkinson who are currently leaving our community to get that full experience elsewhere are staying. They're bringing their families, they're bringing their friends, they're having gatherings. It's also attracting non-residents, bachelorette parties, bachelor parties, holiday parties that normally travel, again, outside of our community are now coming into our community. Again, driving our downtown traffic, having them stay in our community hotels. And additionally, of course, it provides and sustains sale margins that will help us continue to maintain this business model. Alcohol sale margins are what will help float. Without those, food margins are small, entertainment margins are small. It's just another way to increase the revenue that we offer back into our investment into our community. So I know we're probably running close to the 10 minutes here. Our key elements, again, we've had proven success in this industry. We are license holders, we are responsible, we're respected in the community, and we give back to it. We will use this liquor license on a daily basis. We will be open 7 days a week. We're anticipating morning hours until early evening, late evening, probably 10 p.m. We're not looking for a late night bar. But that liquor license will be used every day. Our business is also operated again out of a brick and mortar building that we have purchased. We've made that financial commitment into our community. We can't leave, we don't want to leave, this is our home, but we've made that investment. This isn't something that we can end our lease and try somewhere else. We're committed to our community. And again, the unique business model. This is something that we don't currently have. This is something that will drive traffic in and benefit all of our businesses, as well as our organizations that we give back to through our business. You want to add to that?
I don't think so.
So
I think you nailed it.
you have to say that. So again, we thank you. We welcome any questions or any clarifications. If there's anything that I didn't touch on, we're happy to answer more questions regarding our business that we're very excited for.
Your presentation was optimistic, at least. It was good. You say jobs, and you got so many people applying that you're turning away. That's unique in the environment we got going. When you talk jobs, are we talking one job? Are we talking 5 jobs, 10 jobs?
What are you looking at per week, per month?
No.
Just
How
total.
many
Total
employees?
number of jobs that we
Employees,
can create.
a starting number, maybe a future number?
I would say on a small scale right now with the pub, I operated about 19 to 20 employees. Our saloon has about 6 to 7. I would say we're looking anywhere between 15 to 25. We want at least 2 to 3 staff on for all shifts, and there will be multiple shifts.
You talk about people leaving Fort to go to this someplace else. Where's the nearest place?
The closest place right now would be Edgerton or Newville. That would be 59ers.
59ers in Milton.
Milton,
Janesville has one. Obviously the Madison area has
Many.
several.
Madison, Milwaukee are
but-
pretty saturated.
There is one that is being built in Cambridge as well now, though.
Within, is that the bowling alley?
Yeah.
An
Yeah,
assumption that I would make that I assume these facilities with all virtual golf, maybe even carry out tournaments amongst themselves.
Oh, yeah.
It's,
I mean,
yeah,
it'll run as, ideally, we will run it as a golf course. You will set up tee times. We will have leagues during the winter, which will bring people in as well. And there's really no end to the things you can do. You can run tournaments, you can run it as a golf course, you can run obviously leagues and tournaments and outings.
In the world we now live in, we've done this with our own city council, made it virtual. Are you virtual to a level where you could compete against, say, Cambridge online?
There are certain simulators that do allow that. They are incredibly expensive. I'm talking excess of $80,000 expensive, but there are simulators that do allow that, yes.
Our goal too is to provide simulators that have that high level experience for those who are looking for that, but also to have some options for like the girls golf team to come in and golf on days where the weather is not ideal for them. So we really want to make it for all ranges. I mean, there are a lot of people who have this as a following and they want top of the line. So we do want to provide that, but also have it that every family, every person, it's affordable to everyone. Everyone can enjoy this venue.
Other gaming opportunities that you might offer besides golf would be?
It has soccer capabilities, football, baseball. You can set up a tee and have a home run derby with your buddies.
I think there's dodgeball.
There's
I still don't
a
understand
zombie dodgeball where you throw balls at zombies. A pretty neat experience with sporting clays and 3D hunting options. There's really something for everybody, and it makes it a very family friendly
Mhm.
experience all around.
There's the
really.
option to project movies as well, so you can have, if there's times that people aren't interested in golfing, if you want to rent it for a birthday party, if you want to do something and have a special showing, a game, a Super Bowl, you can use them for that as well.
Considering if you got the liquor license and youth is involved at some level, an age bracket that said under this age you can't come in here, or timeframes where you can, or timeframes where you can't?
So typically with food service, it's an hour after food service has ended. So we will have a quick service style so that it won't interfere with local restaurants. It's not going to be like your general sit down like we have at Patty's, but we probably will have a cutoff for families at a certain point, the 9 o'clock cutoff. But again, we're not looking to be open 11 o'clock midnight when things get a little more hectic downtown in that demographic. So I don't think we'll necessarily have to cut it off, but we run very respectful businesses, and we intend that our staff would maintain that integrity and ensure that it stays a family friendly. The design of the building will also have the kid-centered arcade and soda fountain to the back. So they're not right in the same bar area. Those two areas are separate. We do that for the intention that we can also then book children's birthday parties and things like that in the back area that won't be in that bar-centered area of the business.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to come back and touch on, so what were your estimated full-time equivalency and part-time numbers?
It will really depend on what people are looking for. Right now, I would say we have the opportunity with quick service food. Will offer a prep kitchen and will offer those opportunities, which will probably be 30 to 35 hours a week, just in my experience of that. So we'll probably have at least 2 people who will be full-time for that. We'd love to have a couple full-time managers that will have the ability to just be able to kind of cross-train and be there for all of the shifts. I would say no more than 10 full-time and probably another 10 to 15 part-time. We're seeing this as a great opportunity for student employment as well. The quick service food will be easy for someone to be able to prepare. The soda fountain area, operating the arcade, things like that it's a great opportunity for a student to come in and get paid to be around their peers. I think we have a lot of job opportunities in our area that offer that, but I do think that the standards we've set for our employees and our experience in our environment will just elevate the experience for that age group so that they continue to want to work in Fort Atkinson. Being in this industry, you hear the stories of how employees are treated, and we're really trying to change that tone so that people aren't short-staffed anymore in our community.
I can see a desire to get up on Sunday morning and hit around 9 and have a Bloody Mary. What time would you open for this?
We've tossed that around. I thought that we should open a little earlier, like 7 AM. But he says no one gets up that early, so I.
I would like to be open between 8 and 10 AM. I think. I know a lot of golfers. I do golf myself and I just don't picture them in January when it's 0 degrees, wanting to get up at 7 AM but I do think, you know, the 8 to 10 AM would be a reasonable time.
The beauty is, though, it gives the opportunity for something to get up at that early in the morning and get out. Right now in Wisconsin, we are quite limited, especially in our area, of what we can do with indoor venues. Bowling, I think, is making a huge comeback, which is awesome. I think this just adds another opportunity for people to find that winter opportunity and kind of chase away those winter blues.
Michelle, what is the current opening hour for serving a cocktail in Fort Atkinson?
Oh, I knew you were gonna ask me a question I didn't prepare for.
I believe it's 6 AM.
That could be right. I know sales is a little bit later.
I think sales
offhand.
actually is
Sales is
6
6
AM.
AM.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That was,
I don't
that was
buy
an
that early.
Sorry, someone talking
I
about.
heard that it's.
experience. That was a state law that changed a number of years ago to accommodate tailgaters.
I just know
Great.
that because I go to Quick Trip in the morning and their sign says 6 AM on the back.
There we go. Statute.
If you would not receive the liquor license, how does that affect your business plan?
I mean, it substantially changes the model that we'll have to push and probably the pricing that we'll have to push. I mean, there will be a lot that we'll have to figure out to make up for that. I mean, we're optimistic people. We will make this business work, but we want to be able to give the optimal investment into it, and the liquor license allows us to do that. We would still apply for a beer and wine. We would still have seltzers, ciders, things like that we could offer. But with this entertainment model, it generally does go hand in hand with liquor as the most successful model for what we've seen.
Any other questions from the license committee? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, if I have the order correct, I believe is Mr. Brews Tap House.
Feel like we're entering the Shark Tank. All of a sudden. All right, hey guys, we're with Mr. Reese Tap House. Introduce myself. My name is Ken Leach. I'm the VP of Operations for our corporate side for the franchisor. We are a franchise model. We have 14 locations nationwide right now. We were founded and created here in Wisconsin. Our founder, Steve Day, very first Mr. Brews was up in near Stevens Point, grew it through Wisconsin, and then had a lot of interest from local supporters, local communities, and that's really how he kind of created our model. Was all locally driven, locally pubs, neighborhood pubs that are family friendly and fun, safe environments to enjoy a craft beer, a burger, and some cocktails. So pass it over to Greg. Let's introduce yourself, and I'll talk a little more.
I'm Greg. I founded Mr. Reese Tap House with my brother Steve. It's actually Wausau was our first.
Oh,
stop.
yeah.
Um,
I'm newer. I've only been here for a year. No.
We've opened Fort Atkinson here. Gosh, we're going on 6 years. It's been a long time. I've been waiting for a liquor license to open the entire time, and here we are. So I'm really excited, and I thank you for this opportunity to give us a chance at that license, because it is a significant impact to my restaurant. With that being said, I want to introduce you to Kyle. Kyle, you want to speak a little bit, and then.
Yes, my name is Kyle Scheffler. I'm the operator general manager at the moment. Born and raised Wisconsin. I have lived in Fort Atkinson for a little under a decade. Originally from Milwaukee, but I would never go back. I love Fort Atkinson. This just has the greatest feel to it. Everyone, the camaraderie between different businesses, people. It's absolutely amazing. I love it.
Yeah, you know, I talked a lot about being local and locally driven, and I'm sure many of you probably are aware and familiar with Mr. Brews Tap House, but a little quick Fort Atkinson history. When it first opened up in 2017, it was actually a franchised unit. I would say that things didn't operate the way that they were supposed to have been operated during that time frame for the first 2 or 3 years. So Steve and us on the corporate side kind of did the right thing and assumed control of the location in 2019. Kyle was in place and took over as our leader at that point in time. And then we all know what happened in March of 2020. COVID hit all of a sudden, and we thought we were starting to gain some momentum, and then we all went through that. Luckily, we're able to take advantage of PPP funding and things like that to get through 2020, 21, and where we are. So, I think we included a plethora of information for you guys about who we are, along with some financial data and things like that. And that's really what the sales growth has been coming out of 2019 with what those numbers were pre-COVID to where they are today. And truly, it's been driven by Kyle and what he's been doing in the local community. And I'll let him talk a little bit about that. But from a core values perspective and what we drive for our pubs nationwide is an aggressive local store marketing plan. It's all grassroots marketing, being out in the community, supporting community fundraising efforts, partnering with local schools, partnering with hotels, libraries, whatever you can do. And I'll let him elaborate for a quick minute. But he's really done an amazing job, I think, reestablishing our reputation here. And we're very committed from a brand in doing it the right way with third-party audits on food safety. We do internal audits and brand audits to make sure we're clean, our food practices are right. We're certifying everybody in food safety, of course, alcohol and everything else on the way. But I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, so I guess the biggest thing I've always kind of instilled with my staff and everyone I talk to about Mr. Brews is family. Everyone that comes in there, I treat them like they're part of my family. Goes along with staff, customers, whoever may enter the four walls of Mr. Brews Tap House. I do a lot, or I try to do a lot of giving back with fundraisers. I've raised $1,000 for the Humane Society. I'm working with Luther Elementary, doing Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader trivia. I know they're trying to build a playground, so I'm just trying to do whatever I can to help put money in their pockets to be able to fill the dreams, and what they're trying to accomplish. I also do pride myself in the fact that in the time that I've operated the location, we've never had any issues with police, over intoxicated people. It's sometimes easy to do when you're dealing with a bar restaurant, but I always make sure my staff are fully aware of the warning signals and signs that you should need to know of, when it comes to possibly over serving someone. It's one of those things that it's a no-brainer when you involve liquor. You're always adding another equation to the fact, but with proper molding and making sure that the staff understand what to do in a situation like that. It's always about preventing something before it happens. So like I said, I pride myself in that we've never had an issue at Mr. Brews, and I continue to say that I don't think we will. It's just it makes sense. It's my ambition is to own the franchise one day. I'm hoping next year might be that year. But it's just one of those things that'll take us to the next level and give us an opportunity to hire more people. When you get that added element to a restaurant, you're going to need to hire more, bartenders, and staffing obviously is going to come along with that. So.
Yeah, we did include some projections and whatnot in our packet for you guys. Just sort of a rough comparison to our 14 locations that we do have out there. There's 3 of them currently that don't have a liquor license, Forts being one of them. Those that have liquor licenses generally perform 15 to 20 to maybe 30% stronger than those that do without. So this will be a pretty significant impact to our business to have it, especially coming out of some of the struggles that we've been having, COVID in the past, something else too. So this is a very significant impact for us, to say the least. So, and then from a job perspective, I know we included that as well, but we would anticipate based on how that flow comes in, obviously 7 days a week business, lunch and dinner, we have flexible schedules for our teams, 3 to 4 full-time, maybe 4 to 7 part-time, new people that we would anticipate bringing on to be able to support what we believe we can see out of it. If we do see that 15 to 20% lift that we traditionally see in our other models. So I guess open it up for questions. I know we threw a lot out and tried to we could probably talk for hours about who we are, but try to make it quick and concise the best we can. So.
I've been in your place. I really think it's gorgeous what you did in there.
Thank you. Yeah, pretty cool conversion from the creamery and yeah.
Many years ago, I took a trip to Germany to visit a friend in the Air Force and came home with a passion for microbrews. So when I see what you guys are serving and the level that you're serving it, I'm like going, well, this is just like heaven. And
No, that's awesome. We appreciate it.
But the biggest enhancement to you, the way I would see it, is that you go from serving beers and wine to serving mixed drinks, right?
Mhm.
Just the
Yeah,
level of
coolers.
liquor that you serve will go up.
Yeah. Yes, I tell you, of every first time guest that we have that comes in the door, I would say probably more than half of them, they give us that response when they find out that we don't have liquor, and then we lose that return visit.
Right.
It's a turnoff to those that don't know, or that they'll prefer liquor, husbands that are beer drinkers, wives that are not, things of that kind of nature. And it's probably one of the challenges / threats that we have from a perception stance, that we offer so much. We're a tap house that doesn't have a full bar.
We wanted a full bar 6 years ago, but there's no license available.
We've heard that from a few people.
Yeah, no, so we're excited to be here and talk about it. So, yeah.
Those phone calls are just as fun to take.
Yeah, no, I'm sure.
If you do not receive the liquor license, how, I guess, how does that affect your current operations and long-term staying power?
That's gonna be very difficult because it's hard to survive as it is. I mean, we're still trying to get back from COVID. It's this liquor license gets me back into the profitability sound. So I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's the same probably with everyone in this room, but it's that huge of an impact because your wife wants to go out to eat for dinner, as we were talking earlier. She wants a brand new fashion. I can't serve that. So you choose to go somewhere else that has that. And that happens all the time. And, you know, we're committed. And I want to say committed, we'll do everything we can to keep driving the ship forward, but it's tough.
We've kind of coined our own internal challenges, the veto vote, that there's usually one person at the party that'll say, no, I don't want to go there because I can't have what I want. We're a full service restaurant without a full bar. So that's been certainly a challenge without a doubt. You know, like everybody that's in food, you know, we've been threatened by commodities pretty aggressively. Though labor minimum wages haven't lifted in Fort Atkinson or Wisconsin. But the rate in which you have to compensate somebody nowadays is different than it was pre-COVID. Which is not a necessarily bad thing. It's probably a righting the ship, which is going on. But what we've done pretty aggressively is to try to keep the value to our guests, and we haven't raised our prices. We just did our first price increase in 18 months. We're probably going to be looking at a couple of ones because we have to figure out the margins the right way. And we strongly believe that this can help us maybe combat having to do that, and is going to be pretty impactful for us.
You say one question, being in an existing business, applying for this, like. How has your capacity been? I guess, how full have you been based on what your capacity is? And do you feel like this is going to either drive just more revenue per person or per visit, or is this more heads in the door?
I think it's gonna be both. I think that we'll be able to see more repeat visits. We'll put together, respectfully the right way, an aggressive marketing campaign to get the word out there that we now offer a full bar. We have signature cocktails and things like that. We have cocktails on tap because we are kind of that tap house that we want to be able to roll out and launch. But and we'll be able to do that if we can. But yeah, from a capacity standpoint, I would say on some of the local trivia nights and things that we have, we reach capacity, but we've got seating that we can take on.
So on your other things that you do, trivia night, I've heard good things about that from friends who regularly participate, I believe. I unfortunately do not do a lot of bar hopping like I did in my youth. Getting old's been hard on me.
It's fun. You should reconsider it. He does a great job with it.
Do you do other things besides trivia night?
Yeah, well, talk about some of the specials and promotions that we have out there.
Yeah, so, you know, we have happy hour, we have different food discount or like lunch specials, stuff like that. I've been trying to pinpoint what is gonna draw the most heads in the door. And as of right now, it seems like trivia is the most impactful on getting the most people in the door, especially when it comes to the fundraisers. We had 18 teams a couple weeks ago for one of our trivia events. It was really, really successful. Cornhole, that's also something that we're going to be kind of toying around with, getting a cornhole league going on. People that like tossing bags around, you know, they like having their old, it's a Midwestern thing, fish fry and old fashions, they kind of go hand in hand. So we're, you know, we have a fish fry, we're just missing that other piece.
There's live music as well that we
Yeah.
brought in, and on Sundays, we're doing Kids Eat Free, trying to drive in families. You know, we're still a great place. After church, have a burger and a beer and watch football or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we also do offer free kids meals on Sundays to drive people in.
I like that.
I do too, but I always have to bring an extra adult.
I bet you I can eat more kids' meals than you can.
You are a 7-day-a-week operation, correct?
Yeah, and I hope that this would help, perhaps depending on the traffic flow and things like that, of what we would see, you know, it could be extended hours and things like
We're
that.
11 to 11, so I don't have any intentions to have them past bar time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 11 o'clock, it's shut down, you know, up to 2. Too many bad things happen.
Would you evaluate whether or not opening any earlier? There's very few places to find a Bloody Mary in Fort Atkinson.
Yeah, no,
anymore.
I think we're open to all of that, because we're not 100% sure. I mean, if we see what's more consistent with seeing in other pubs, you know, it's sort of something certainly we can look at, especially for events and things like that, without a doubt.
I'd be open to it.
Yeah, without a doubt. You know, and if we're still have some volume in the later evening, maybe it's a half an hour later, an hour later, you know, or something like that as well. So I think we'll definitely analyze and look at it both ends once we kind of get word out in our marketing plan. And then, yeah, revisit it and see what we can do. So yeah, most definitely.
Any other questions from our committee? Thank you.
Okay.
gentlemen.
Oh, thank you guys very much. Thank you.
And then that leaves Rock River Heritage, the Fort Atkinson Club.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jill Kesnick, outgoing director of the Fort Atkinson Club, and this is Penny Strom, the incoming executive director of the Fort Atkinson Club. So Penny is a Fort Atkinson native and just recently moved back. Very happy to have her. My husband and I, Steve Tesmer, have lived here for 20 years. And I've been the director at the Fort Atkinson Club for just about 5 years, a little under 5 years. We opened in 2015 as a independent, multi-purpose nonprofit center that serves the community, neighbors, visitors to Fort Atkinson and Jefferson County. And our vision was that we would be a hub along the Rock River, in a beautiful historic building that brings together people through education, arts, wellness, business, and community events and other fun activities while showcasing the history, culture, and heritage of the area. And we've developed a wide variety of ways to nurture and support our vibrant community and offer opportunities for people to participate in positive collaboration. The Fort Atkinson Club, the Rock River Heritage was formed in 2011 by Joan Jones, who is a historian preservationist, and purchased the dilapidated building at 211 South Water Street East. It was a diamond in the rough, really. It was a gorgeous building. It looked like an ugly duckling, as some of you remember. Most of the windows had been sided over. It needed a new roof horribly. And it had some little critters living in the building and things like that. So we did a $2.25 million renovation on the building, got it up to ADA requirements, added an elevator tower, added a new fire escape, and brought everything up to code. And we've been operating since 2015 as a community center and event space. Again, we're an independent nonprofit. We don't receive any city or state funding. We're also on the historic registers for the city, the state, and the national register. And we serve as an event space for private events. So we do hold weddings in the building, as well as baby and bridal showers, family parties, etc. Since those are private events and we do not currently have a liquor license, those folks are allowed to bring in their own alcohol, beverages, whatever, and serve whatever they want, as long as they're not selling it. One of the problems that we have with that is obviously we don't have the opportunity to sell them that product and make some income on that, nor do we have control over what is being served, how much is being served. We try to regulate that a little bit by requiring that anyone that is serving hard liquor at a private event hire one of our licensed bartenders. So we do have someone there serving that knows the law and knows when to stop serving someone and doesn't overserve someone. However, it's still an open bar type situation. You might think that a full liquor license for a 501c3 is unusual, but I can cite two other organizations that are similar to us in their model and location that operate under that model. One is the Oak Creek Community Center in Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and the other is Creekside Community Center, which is in Evansville, Wisconsin. Our staff has visited both of these facilities and met with their staff. And we all operate in similar ways, but we also have our own unique challenges and opportunities. And like I said, one of ours is regulating alcohol consumption at private events, especially weddings, when there's a large crowd and an open bar. Since we are a community center, we offer really competitive fees, but require that our building users assist with cleanup for the spaces that they use. And that includes removing trash and recyclables, wiping down tables, counters, appliances, removing any food and drink. This becomes especially challenging at the end of a wedding or a large event when alcohol has been served in an open type bar situation. And we feel that with the added revenue of sales of alcohol, we could afford the additional staff of 3 to 4 people, probably a full-time bar manager, and then 3 to 4 event staff, bartending staff, to assist with recycling, dishwashing, cleanup. We have a commercial dish machine. We have our own glass and drinkware, and we could be a lot more diligent about using that and not using a lot of plastic and increasing the waste flow. Before, during, or after FAC sponsored concerts, and we have 7 of those a year, we would sell drinks by the glass or container with seating at bistro tables, lounge furniture, our outdoor patio on patio chairs. It's a costly prospect to operate a large historic building, but that is a large part of our mission. So we are committed to operating that historic building at its location and having it serve as a community and cultural center or hub. I like to think of us as a small version of maybe the Stoughton Opera House or the Pabst Theater, which are both iconic historic buildings that have an adapted reuse and are very popular entertainment destinations. And we really feel that with this added revenue, it will help us to expand our free and our low-cost programming to all citizens of Fort Atkinson, Jefferson County and beyond. And we really feel it would enhance our patio concerts that we're having to just apply for temporary beer and wine licenses for serving right now. And we think that that could also enhance the number and the types of concerts that we hold in our building throughout the year. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
I personally want to congratulate you on the restoration you did on that building.
Thank you.
That thing was dilapidated, but it was an incredible find. You don't make buildings like that anymore. It had all kinds of things inside of it that were fantastic. And you did a really quality job putting it together.
Thank you.
I would think one of the limiting factors that you might find is your limited parking down in that area.
Yeah.
Um,
I tell our building users that think of it as life in the big city, you know. Madison and Milwaukee has that problem all the time. You know, Fort Atkinson usually doesn't, but because we are landlocked, that is an issue. Yeah.
In your schedule, if I were to come to you and say, hey, I want to book a wedding,
Mhm.
how far in advance do you have to book?
Um,
Are you booked out for 6 months, a year?
we have, depending on the date that you want, we could book something out as close as 2 or 3 months. It really sort of depends on the date. Some people book out, usually a year is typical. I'd say 6 months to a year. 2 years is pretty unusual, but it's happened. But we have put together smaller weddings, I would say within a few months.
How large a wedding can you handle?
We had our capacity for weddings set at 150. We have found that is really a little bit too hard on the building. And we are now looking at a capacity of 125. So very small to micro size weddings.
But it can be a destination venue. So that's the beauty of it. People from outside of Fort Atkinson, as Erin touched on. My history is I ran the St. Germain Chamber for 10 years. And I'm all well aware of the importance of room tax into a community and how big that is. And I think anybody that gets this liquor license, well-deserved, great presentations, everybody brings something unique to the table. This is actually putting heads in your beds. I mean, not that the golf isn't and everything, but people will come to Fort Atkinson for a wedding. It's a destination. You have many opportunities here. I mean, obviously, my husband, we grew up here, moved away 10 years ago. We came back home to be by family. And the opportunity to be back in this great community and offer what everybody in this town offers is huge. So having an actual destination wedding is phenomenal.
Yeah, I like you. I'm blessed as a Fort Atkinson native. It's a wonderful place.
Yep, it is.
So what would you say your breakdown of, I'm going to call them internal versus external events are? So you spoke about having concerts. I would classify those as internal events, external events being, again, the baby showers, the weddings, so on and so forth. What is your breakdown within a year?
Well, I would say we have more private events than public events currently. I would say probably 60 to 70% private and 25 to 30% public. And I would consider those also including programs, not necessarily events, but classes or workshops, not just a entertainment type event.
And I guess of those percentages, so of the public percentage, how many of those would you anticipate using the liquor license within a year?
Probably 80% of those.
And of the private events?
100%. 95%. Maybe not a kid's birthday party.
Fair enough. And then, I guess also, what is your anticipated sales volume within a year?
Well, like I said, I anticipated that it would increase our gross sales by 15 to 20% per year. Based on budgets that I've looked at of similar organizations and similar models.
And then regarding the 7 concerts per year that you have, what is your, I guess, when you are having liquor for sale for public use, what is the current route that you are taking to achieve that?
Temporary licenses. Your temporary beer and or beer and wine licenses, and we're limited to, I think, 2 wine licenses per year. So that certainly limits the number of events we can have where we can serve wine, sell wine.
And then by having a liquor license, how do you feel this enables you to tackle some of the policing issues regarding consumption?
Well, we will for certain only be serving what we're selling, and we'll be hiring and training additional bartenders, a bar manager. So people that have a very good knowledge base of who to serve, how much to serve, when to stop serving. Whereas now it's, kind of a, a little bit of a free for all. I mean, we started under the model that it was just, an open bar, and we weren't requiring the building users to hire a bartender. And we, over the amount of time that I spent in the position that I'm in, I realized we needed a little bit more control than what we had. So then we started requiring that they hire one of our licensed bartenders, but that's really as far as we've been able to take it. So if we can sell the alcohol, we know exactly, how much they're going to consume, and we can keep a much better tab on what is being served and who might be overserved at an event, at a private event.
I've only got 2 more questions, I promise.
Okay.
And one of them, the one I've asked everybody, if you do not receive this, how does that affect your long-term business plan?
Well, we're struggling like everyone else is, post-COVID. We're through generous donors, we're able to survive. But we would like to be more independent of those donors and be able to just, break even as a venue, and at the same time provide more programming. We feel as though if we could increase our income with alcohol and liquor sales, we could provide more low cost or even free programming to the community.
Might play into my next question, which is why as a committee should we really consider granting a liquor license to you over a tax-paying entity?
Well, I had that same question when I was about to fill out the application. And I was wondering if we would be discriminated against for that reason. I assume that we won't be, because I was allowed to go through the application process like everyone else. So I guess I feel as though since we had to go through the same rigors as everyone else, we deserve the same opportunity.
Agreed.
I think it's known. I'm
I've got
sorry.
another question. I need to wrap my head around something that I don't quite understand. You referred yourself as to a nonprofit organization, which is
Correct.
hence the reason You're not involved much in the tax revenue generating. Most of what I hear come here is a speech as to why this generates more money. As a businessman, I'm confused on all this extra income, but it's still a nonprofit. How does that function?
Well, what I had said was that my hope is that by generating the extra income, we can turn around and produce more programming to the community. Right now, we're producing as much programming as we're able to afford. But if we are limited as to our income, then we're limited as to programming. I had a similar question when I started the application process is, will a nonprofit organization be considered for something like this? And my understanding was that, yes, it will be. So if we're being considered as a nonprofit, it seems as though we should have the same opportunity as a for-profit business.
Your employees still there's still income tax that they pay.
Yes.
There would be sales tax on sold items.
Yes.
So there is.
Yes. Yeah.
Some tax revenue.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. We don't pay property tax.
And you need to enlighten me on some of it. I can't tell you how impressed I am with the building, what you did with it, how nice you did it. Programming that you offer the community.
Mhm.
Vague. I don't. What
Sure.
do you
Well,
offer?
the seven concerts that I mentioned, those are all free and open to the public. So we have 4 chamber concerts per year at once every quarter in our theater. We have 3 patio concerts during the summer that are on our patio along the Riverwalk. We offer discounted programming. We have yoga classes, we have painting classes, we have music lessons, piano and strings, and we give discounts on those classes to the Fort Atkinson Club members. It's a very nominal membership fee, but it really does pay to be a member to get 20% off your yoga fees. It kind of pays for itself. We've had summertime youth programming for elementary and middle school kids. We've had art classes, cooking classes, writing classes, mindfulness and yoga classes. So we have been offering this type of programming since we've been open, but we struggle to be able to do a lot of that because, again, a big part of our mission is to maintain our historic building, and that's a huge expense in and of itself. So what we're able to do programming wise, we feel could be greatly expanded with the additional revenue.
Thank you. Nice answer. You took some of the fog out of my head.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, Jill, I just wanted to clarify, you wouldn't be open to the public for regular sales and serving like a bar or restaurant, right?
Probably not.
Okay.
Um,
Everyone mentioned like hours of
Yeah,
operation and opening. I just want to confirm.
Probably not, at least not at first. If the patio concerts, for instance, were successful enough that we could be holding those more often, maybe we would expand our hours to align with that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Well, before we jump into deliberation, I want to say thank you, everybody, for applying. This is probably not one of the easiest decisions we've ever had to make. So bear with us as we work our way through this, but thank you again for applying. Thank you for being invested in Fort Atkinson. Thank you for choosing to stay here, to do business here, and we wish you nothing but the best moving forward. So.
I was impressed with all the, I wish 3 licenses to offer. That just isn't the case.
Does anyone, do we want to go through item by item as far as any criteria from the questionnaire? I don't know if they're seeking any comment from me on that.
I think we would gladly defer to your wisdom.
I'm not making a recommendation. We'll make that clear. We'll make
Yes,
that clear.
understood.
Just some background. So everyone had provided the questionnaire, so I just kind of did a little synopsis of this. So Patty Shack would be a new a new business. Mr. Bruce Tap House, Rock River Heritage Fort Club, they're both existing. Patty Shack intends to open March is what they had listed on their application. The other two are existing open businesses. They did both provide current full-time staff and part-time staff, and then they all anticipate hiring additional staff. Some of the numbers discussed vary from what they put on the form, but you know, as they probably talked and worked through it, they might have kind of had different ideas for what they're thinking. Menu wise, Patty Shack would have, as mentioned, paninis, prepackaged snacks, ice cream snacks, the soda bars I mentioned today. Mr. Bruce does have a menu providing appetizers, burgers, salad, sides, beverages. The Fort Club, they have, they don't offer a menu. They have catering brought in for different events, which, you know, depending what the event is, they can get catering for all of them. Patty Shack would be a redevelopment. The location they're planned is the current Humphrey that will be closing at the end of the year. So that's a floral gift shop. They'd be redeveloping that. Mr. Bruce Tap House was a redevelopment. 2016 was when, I think I have this, when they opened initially. And then the Fort Club, I think we're familiar with that remodel, that $2 million remodel in 2015. They all listed anticipated operating hours. I did provide total hours per week based on what the recommendation was or what they were thinking the hours would be. Patty Shack around 84, Tap House around 72, and the Fort Club is about 52. That's with the hours provided, assuming they would have events throughout a regular schedule. Seating capacity, Patty Shack listed 100, Tap House 115, the Fort Club 225. Interior seating, Patty Shack listed 100, Mr. Bruce Tap House 85, the Fort Club 125. Exterior seating, Patty Shack said unknown at this point, seeing as how they're not open. Mr. Bruce Tap House has 30 exterior seating on their patio, and the Fort Club has 100 on their back patio also. Parking lots, Patty Shack would utilize the public street and the public lots, parking on the street and then the adjacent community lots. Mr. Bruce Tap House has that private shared lot that's on site. And the Fort Club has the public street lots also similar to street parking and then the public parking lots in the area. I had listed the number of stalls available. Again, that's, you know, depending what they have available to them. Patty Shack counted 30 available to them. I honestly don't know the number of stalls available with the adjacent lots. Mr. Bruce Tap House did not provide, it's not a negative that it wasn't provided, but we're familiar with the various parking lots available for the building. And then the Fort Club listed 84. And again, there wasn't like a 1 mile radius, how much parking is available. It was just something that was provided on the questionnaire. Also noted, I included additional information. This wasn't on the questionnaire. This was information we had provided just committee, what personal property taxes that were paid. Patty Shack, since they're not an existing business, the prior owner for this location, Humphreys, their personal property tax was $185. Again, that all of this depends on the fixtures and what's involved with the business. So I don't think this would have anything measurable on it. Just additional information I included. And then I did provide the real estate taxes. Patty Shack, again, not existing. The prior owner property taxes for the Humphrey parcels are $5,600. The other two businesses owned by Patty Shack vary between $2,500 and $9,000. The $9,000 is the two parcels that are on Sherman Avenue. Mr. Bruce Tap House, taxes for the property are $83,000. However, they lease the property, so that is taxes for the entire establishment, the entire building. And then Rock River, the Fort Atkinson Club, I keep calling it different things. The Fort Club, I'm sorry. They don't have real estate taxes as being a nonprofit. The final column, Patty Shack owns the property. Mr. Bruce leases the property, and Rock River Heritage Fort Club owns that property. as the 501c3. Any questions on that data?
Yeah, I've got the question on the real estate taxes.
Yes.
Looking at the Jefferson County GIS website, the slightly different numbers, is this was this provided by the applicants or was it provided by,
This was
like the actual
information
tax
I
bill?
looked up. This might have been based on last year's taxes.
Okay.
So the Humphreys, the real estate taxes was 56.95 on the Humphrey property. And then 1062 property was 2,500. And then the two separate parcels owned by Patty Coughlin's is 9,000 combined on those two parcels. Mhm. Okay.
With the two parcels, the main property falls under Chula, one South Main, with another property that technically falls under 6 Water Street, or sorry, 6 Milwaukee, but they are combined parcel with no separation between them.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I'm guessing Mr. Brew's lease is on a triple net. We wouldn't happen to know the percentage of triple net that goes towards property tax.
It was a lot of pages. I did not include all of
This
them.
is responsible for triple net, base rent, triple net. 1,157 a month, triple net.
So the original lease for Mr. Bruce began November 1st, 2016. That was with the prior franchisee. And since then, there's been amendments to the lease to be operated by Mr. Bruce Tap House, Fort Atkinson 8. Mr. Bruce Tap House 8 LLC. And it looks like the Fourth Amendment that was signed July of 2020 extends through December 31st, 2026. Is that correct? What you know? Okay. Yep. There's that. Amendment there. That's your question.
Thank you. We don't pick liquor licenses based on property taxes, so it's. Gentlemen. I'm open to entertaining thoughts and conversation.
Yeah, I just, as a city councilman, I think we're, elected to these positions to, represent our, constituents to the best, benefit to the city. So as we kind of look at things of like employment, social benefit to the residents in the city, maintaining a vibrant, Main Street, which I know when, as I was running for city council, I walked up and down Main Street and I was, a little bit appalled by how many vacant buildings we have. And also hearing about what's happening with the, the Humphreys building that, my first concern was, oh, there goes another one, Obviously, we want to continue to, support our local businesses and business owners and employers in the city, as well as like the reputation that these organizations have within the city. So I'd say like, this is not a clear, cut case in my opinion. I think all three organizations have compelling cases and, do have that, great reputations within the city. So.
The number of liquor licenses available to the city. I mean, I'd love to be Santa Claus and hand out some to everybody.
You are,
Yeah.
during the.
You have that role actually.
But since we're gonna have to make a hard decision and disappoint somebody or a couple of somebodies tonight, what compels the city to only say, this is how many we have? As a native, that's been a passionate thing all the way through this. My entire existence here. How many have we had? How many can we have? Who regulates that? The city?
State statute.
And in 1997, the Department of Administration through the state put a cap on that. They put a quota on it and said, you have what you have. To increase more, you have to grow.
I'm curious based on in my past lives, I did some motorcycle traveling where my friend and I drove our motorcycle out to the state of Maine. And they had completely different liquor drinking rules than what we have here. You couldn't buy it from the gas station. You couldn't, you had to buy it from a licensed liquor store before 5 o'clock. And the girl that we asked, where do you get a beer or something like that? Don't you have a bar? Her answer was, we have lots of them. We have one 5 miles this way. We have one 15 miles that way. And she got all excited. We even have a disco and it's only 25 miles away. I knew I was home when we pulled across the state border into the first little town. There was 3 houses and 8 bars.
That's true.
Michelle, could you, you mentioned at the beginning of what allowed the city to get this additional license. It was,
So we have preliminary estimates that come out from the Department of Administration every year, preliminary and then a final estimate. So knowing where our estimate is per population. When we get the preliminary, from when we get the actual estimate, it varies by 1. But looking at our numbers, I talked with our tobacco and alcohol agent with the state and reaffirmed that the number we can count from was from when the quota was established in 1997. The increments of 500 from that point on, which established being able to increase the reserve licenses.
we got to get going on that Banker Road development pretty quickly.
I know.
But 500 residents or 500 of age residents.
Just 500 as per the census. So it's probably 18 and over, maybe.
Okay.
No, it's just straight people. So babies.
And-
Babies.
But,
Yeah.
we're pretty aged
Good.
demographic.
With our new Banker Road project, would we maybe be knocking on the door of another
I was
license?
just saying, I guess how far away are we
in the
from
near
an
future.
additional license? Not that that
Yeah.
helps us solve tonight's problem.
Trying to find my table.
I get first question, how often is this evaluated? Is it annually?
Every time we get our estimate, I'm looking at numbers. We we get our estimates around November and then January is the final.
But it's annually? Okay.
Mhm. And I have our population, my signature block all the time because I'm always looking to see when we get it. Fortunately, we don't grow very, very fast and we lost like 9 or 10 residents a couple years ago. So I cried. I
It's difficult.
fine. I had a.
Again, I wasn't looking to do any more than try and get a perspective in my mind,
Mhm.
as this has been a battle through my entire life here to
It-
see that going on. I didn't have my head completely wrapped around what determines it.
Mhm.
And say, if saying no to one company or another means that maybe in the year 2050, you could apply again. That
Yeah,
That-
the development spurs the population. And I was hoping with our recent 2020 census that it would kind of recalibrate a little bit, but it didn't change that much.
But like I say, the housing numbers that required homes, as we were talking about the Banker Road, sounded like the required homes that we anticipate would affect that in a shorter time period than what I've seen it be affected in past years.
Yeah, I mean, we have an opportunity for population to grow, but I don't think there's any way that there's,
Near
that,
term.
it's not gonna be a year or two. It's gonna be, it's gonna take probably 10 years to build out that 75 acres of residential development.
Are we gonna debate amongst ourselves what we think of the perks or the negatives or the positives of each of these businesses?
You
I
certainly
mean,
can.
I certainly think that mostly what I hear is convenience. It would be convenient to offer more yoga classes, so we could sell liquor to do that. I can't say that I am impressed with their building and what they do. The Mr. Brewhouse, again, convenience that he could, the number of people who don't go to his place based on, I can't have a dinner and a Bloody Mary or whatever is still. And they're all talking about and adding smaller numbers of employees where the Patty Shack is talking about quite a big number more people being hired and generating jobs in our town. That part alone pushes me in a direction that
Well, I guess one is they're not open now. So is that total net add based on being open or due to the license?
good point. I mean, I assume that they open, they're gonna have X number of employees and whether the license enhances that or not. I don't know, but the total number of employees enhanced by the fact that they're more likely to survive.
However, they are not precluded from applying for a beer and wine license, which we do have available.
We have beer and wine. Wine has some stipulations of serving food.
Not an easy decision, period. I would have to say each applicant is deserving. I think based on volume of patrons and impact to local community, I would be more apt to make a decision towards Patty Shack or Mr. Brews versus the Fort Atkinson Club. Again, not that the Fort Atkinson Club is not deserving. I'm just looking at the number of patrons that would rotate throughout the year into this space. And I think that you have some revenue opportunities doing private space rentals that you can still explore and still manage to police some of the licensing issues. Mr. Brews is a full service restaurant. Patty Shack would not be a full service restaurant. I also enjoy, a good Bloody Mary when I go golfing. Is that something that I would want? Probably, knowing that there's beer and wine available. Would that still fulfill my appetite as a golfer? Also, probably. That doesn't help. It's just a conversation starting point from my perspective. So I'm only 1/3.
I understand that to some degree. I don't golf lots, but my friends want me to go because there's always a beer hole and I always lose. I'm always the one buying.
On the bright side, you can't lose as many golf balls at this establishment.
I have a tendency to lean towards a better mousetrap, and it sounds to me like the Patty Shack is creating a better mousetrap on some issues. Things that enhance the city in ways we don't have. Things that again, the number of employees that they're talking about impresses me. The fact that their new mousetrap is unique and maybe something that could take off and be real big and really add stuff to bringing people to town.
I would counterpoint on the other side that an establishment has also been waiting for almost 6 years to see a liquor license open, and they've stuck through a pandemic. I mean, not that all of these haven't stuck through a pandemic, but they've gone through franchisee changes. They've had options to pull out of Fort Atkinson and they've still stayed here. So I'm
not happy
Devil's
about
advocate.
making anybody unhappy with me.
all I know is I won't be able
But
to
I'm
show
not
my
gonna have
face
a
in any
choice.
establishment. So out of transparency, I did ask that there was no staff recommendation because I wanted this to be a very clear decision. I did not want any person sitting out in this audience to feel like staff made a recommendation and we are going along with it. So I'm going to urge us to come to a decision tonight that we can pass along to our council. Otherwise, this will all be debated in open at a council meeting. And I don't anticipate that it is going to be a shorter meeting by any means
And not any easier.
and not any easier. So I hate to put the onus on us, but we are here, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's.
So
why
what
they
I
make-
just, I guess,
that's why they
from
Make the big bucks.
like. I guess from a process standpoint, like the motion would be to, like, I recommend, or I make a motion to award Class B intoxicating liquor license to, is that what we're looking for tonight?
You'd be recommending approval to the city council.
So I guess there's so much to consider.
Right.
Right.
You know, as we're looking at, you know, new business versus one that's been existing, you know, stuck with us through it, or, you know, another organization that provides, you know, a lot of, you know, events and, you know, free events to, you know, multiple ranges of individuals in the community. It's definitely not an easy choice. It's very, you know, not very easy. I guess, however, there's some aspects of one organization that I think I'm leaning a little bit closer towards. My recommendation, or I would move to recommend to the city council to award or to recommend to the city council to award Class B intoxicating liquor license to Mr. Brew's Tap House LLC.
And it'll be kind of mean, Chris. I'm gonna recommend that if I was
Well,
recommending.
so there's a
because
motion
Patty
on the,
said-
so there's
So I,
there's a motion on the table.
okay,
So what will have to happen is we will have to wait for a second.
all right.
And then if there is a second, then we will take a vote. If that vote fails, then you can make a second
Okay.
recommendation.
I will follow what rules there are.
Would you like to give any clarification on as to why, Mr. Bruce?
Is look, one, they're an existing company that, or existing business that's been within our city. You know, they have stayed with us through, you know, this being an existing business that has stayed with us through COVID, through some of their organizational changes. As they look at, you know, what I believe, you know, what I believe, what they can actually add from an employment standpoint, which I think is a benefit to our residents. That is what kind of swayed a lot of my, or, you know, add an extra gram on one side of the scale. It's not, you know, it's, I guess, tip the scales with that, so. You know, obviously it's a difficult choice because it's someone who wants to start another business here in Fort Atkinson. We want to be open to them and help them be successful. So it's definitely not an easy, you know, easy decision.
You don't want to all share it 1/3 a year, you know?
Someone gets it on every, you know, days starting with T's. I understand this. Nope. I will rescind that comment.
I am with you, Eric, and this is not an easy decision to have to make. I am also leaning towards Mr. Brew's Tap House, primarily being based on being a full service restaurant. I think having that liquor license, I won't say best use. I think it is just probably the most fitting spot at the moment, at the time of this application for that license to go. That being said, we will still have to take a vote on it. So I will second the motion to recommend to city council that Mr. Bruce is awarded the liquor license. Let's take a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Johnson, Councilman Schultz,
Yay.
President Shear.
Yay. Motion carries. This will be recommended up to our city council where it will go through just a single reading.
Mhm.
And that will be at the January 3rd council meeting. If any of the applicants would like to come, they are more than welcome to come to that meeting. They will be able to speak during public comment. You will be limited to 3 minutes. That being said, I don't believe there's anything else on the agenda. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All of those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you again, everyone, for attending.